If you didn't already know, Rugrats is getting a reboot. At the start of the next decade, the babies will return in both a CG animated live-action Sonic and Smurfs style feature, as well as a series in the vein of the original. And this was expected from the company that brought back Hey Arnold and will do the same for Invader Zim and Rocco, wherever those series are is still yet to be seen. However, both future adaptations of Rugrats simultaneously excite and worry me. Let's start with the series. Set to release sometime within calendar year 2020, the Rugrats TV series will feature a 26-episode run by the original team of Arlene Kolaski, Gabor Scupo, and Paul Germain, while starring Tommy, Chucky, Dill, Phil, Lil, Susie, Angelica, and Kimmy. I'm very excited to see the team back after all these years. Rugrats was one of my favorite shows while I was growing up, and has remained so. There's a timelessness with the show's characters that makes it wonderfully rewatchable. I additionally remember as a kid the phase-out of Rugrats. While Nick was still airing a slew of animated series, I missed seeing the show after the network discontinued reruns. To us 2000s kids, we recall the All Grown Up spinoff, and honestly, I couldn't get attached to it. It almost had the same fate as that 80s show to me, a spinoff that should have had great potential, only to fall flat rather quickly. After that, Rugrats went pretty dormant, and a few years later, Nick really cut down on their production of Nicktoons. I believe my biggest reservation is of how safe it is. I had this notion in my head that if Rugrats were going to return after all of these years, aging up the characters with the audience would make more sense. Not in an all-grown-up sort of fashion, but in a logical progression. Tommy, Chucky, Phil, Lil, Kimmy, and Angelica would all be in their 30s, becoming parents. Lou Pickles would have passed, logically and unfortunately, succeeded by Stu, Dee Dee, and the other original parents becoming grandparents. And the babies would be a brand new slate of characters, off on adventures of their own. The problem I see happening is that this series is forced to be compared to its predecessor, while lacking in the same originality from decades ago. The Rugrats brand is at its lowest lull yet. Adapting and bringing fresh new characters would bring a fresher experience to the table, especially as the world is so technologically advanced since the last time the characters were on screen. Just remember, within a year we will see these babies, and somehow we're going to have to connect the fact that these are the same babies that were around in the 90s, even though technology is so vastly different. I hesitate to say I have confidence in the team behind it. There are just too many examples of reboots and returning series grabbing their original writing crew only for the series to feel empty. That's not a knock on purely Rugrats writers, but any reboot or rehash. When it comes to the movie, I'm getting the feeling this will have much less character than the original Rugrats movie or Rugrats in Paris. The icing on the cake is the CG live-action format the babies will be in, an unneeded form for a franchise that's already known for its quirky animation. It doesn't help that Paramount, the company behind the recent Sonic debacle, is the team animating the CG characters. In the end, I'm very cautious of this Rugrats reboot. I want it to be good, but I also wish it took a few more risks. In the end, I'll be hesitantly watching when it debuts next year.